The Crucible of Ancient Egyptian Civilization, Pre-Dynastic Egypt, circa 6300 to 3150 BCE. In context, Egypt. Before about 10,000 BCE, crops of barley and wheat are grown at the site of Wadi Kubanaya, near present-day Aswan. About 7500 BC, the world's oldest stone circle, with stones aligned to the stars and the sun, is erected at Nabta Playa in southern Egypt. After 3100 BCE, the first dynasty of Egypt is established at the city of Memphis. 2575 BCE, the accession of King Sneferu marks the start of Egypt's Old Kingdom. Circa 2560 to 2500 BCE, the largest pyramids in ancient Egypt are built on the Giza Plateau. 671 BCE, Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, conquers Egypt. The earliest Egyptians were indigenous Africans. They were drawn to the Sahara when it was a humid region rich in grasslands and with plentiful water. A widespread Saharan Neolithic culture existed from at least 8000 BCE, living a mostly pastoral existence, rearing cattle, fishing, and growing crops. At the same time, the Saharan climate was slowly turning from humid to arid, caused by a slight precession or wobble of the Earth's axis. As the land transformed to desert, Saharan Africans migrated to the Nile Valley, taking advantage of its fertile floodplains and laying the foundations for the succession of dynasties that cemented Egyptian civilization. Before the dynasties, archaeologists divide Egyptian prehistory into cultures named after the sites where the first remains were discovered. Stone tools at a Nile Valley site called Fayum B indicated a northern Egyptian culture dating from around 6300 BC. Another early site at Merimdi in the West Nile Delta dates from 4800 BC. The people there grew cereal crops, kept livestock, and made simple pottery. Further south, the Badarian culture was contemporary with Merimdi, but more sophisticated. Its dead were buried in the fetal position, symbolizing rebirth in the next life, and their graves, excavated across 40 settlements, contained copper beads, pins, and bracelets, and pottery of a finish and delicacy unsurpassed in the history of ancient Egypt. The Amratian culture, called Naqada, circa 4000 to 3500 BCE, succeeded the Badarian. Its people used adobe, bricks of mud, and straw to construct buildings and make boats of bundled papyrus. They traded along the Nile and imported goods such as golden obsidian, a dark volcanic glass from Nubia, and cedar from the Phoenician city of Byblos. The Amratians were followed by the Girzian culture, also called Naqada II, circa 3500 to 3200 BCE. Its rain-painted pottery was decorated with a vivid array of motifs, including flamingos, human figures, and multi-oared boats. Girzian trade brought silver, probably from the Middle East, and ivory, which was made into utensils, including ivory combs. The Girzian culture grew into a number of city-states in Upper Egypt. Under King Narmer-Ermenes, he who endures, they conquered Lower Egypt around 3100 BCE to unify Egypt, leading to the founding of the First Dynasty. Communication advances. Some of the symbols on Girzian pottery were the prototypes of the hieroglyphic script, a fully alphabetic and partly pictorial form of writing. Beginning around 3000 BCE, Egyptians of the First Dynasty developed the hieratic cursive script used for trade, mathematical, and religious documents. Hieratic and hieroglyphic scripts were both written on rolls of papyrus, a type of paper and further byproduct of the papyrus plant. Were the ancient Egyptians black? Long-standing debate over the ethnicity of ancient Egyptians came to a head in the early 1970s when the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization commissioned an 8-volume history of Africa. The role of ancient Egypt in this history became a sticking point, and in January 1974, UNESCO hosted a symposium in Cairo to consider the people of ancient Egypt. 18 European and Arab scholars claim that the ancient Egyptians were Caucasians. Two African professors, Chikanta Diop and Theophile Obenga, argued that ancient Egypt was peopled from its Neolithic infancy to the end of the native dynasties by black Africans. The final report noted a lack of balance in the discussions, and in support of the African historians, stated not all participants prepared communications comparable with the painstakingly researched contributions of Professors Chikanta Diop and Obenga.